This interview is part of the History Heard project. The content of this interview may be used for historical research. However, no part of the video itself may be reproduced without the express written permission of an authorized representative of History Heard or Dick Morash. Today is July 27, 2009 at 3 o'clock p.m. This is an interview with Richard Morash in Anna Maria Island, Florida. He was born on June 14, 1933 in Boston, Massachusetts. Working on it, did you ever think, like, I'm building something that people are going to go into space with, and you just think about how amazing that is?
Oh yeah, I think that pretty much was something that we constantly had on our minds. Not only me, but the rest of the launch team and the rest of the people who had to help to develop the rockets. And we were thinking that this was going to be a really, the first spaceship. It's kind of like maybe the first airplane that people had gone into and things like that. But we were thinking, well, kind of like Buck Rogers and people who were going to go into space and explore the universe.
Star Trek.
Right, Star Trek. Are you a Trekkie?
She is.
Yeah. I used to try to, my wife can do this one really good there, but I can't do it all that way. Live long and prosper.
Do you remember where you were on July 20th when they landed on the moon? And Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember most of that. On July the 16th, I was at Cape Canaveral where we did the launch. Okay, once the spacecraft was launched, once the Saturn was like 4 inches off the launch pad, all of the controls went to Houston. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the communication systems and the control for everything were in the hands of Houston headquarters. So we pretty much didn't have an awful lot to do with the rest of the mission except to stand by in case there was any types of questions that we could answer. But we also had Grumman people stationed in Houston that had gone through the training, and all the astronauts who had gone through a lot of the stuff. So there was a big team of people, as well as our headquarters up in Bethpage on Long Island, where the real pioneers in the development and the design of the rocket were. They were still up in Long Island. Mm-hmm. And so after we launched them into space, then pretty much we sat home like everybody else and watched television. Of course, we had to go to work and do miscellaneous things, but so on July the 20th, when I actually landed on the moon, I was at home watching TV with my wife and 4 children.
So you watched it just the same way that everyone else watched it?
Just the same way everybody else did. Yeah.
Gus Grissom is quoted as having said, "Do good work" to the factory workers who were working on the Mercury program. Mm-hmm. And that really inspired people. Think about that when he said
it? I'm not sure if we thought too much about that in particular. We all had respect for all of the astronauts. Right. And, they were the guys that were really going to be sitting in the seat when that thing blasted mm-hmm. off and went into orbit. So we, any time that they gave us had something to say to us, we took it pretty much to heart. Yeah. We did a lot of work with them directly in the training portions of the Apollo and the lunar module. I had a console seat when we did all of the testing and checkout in the control room. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the astronauts would come down and sit next to me and ask me a lot of questions about what the particular pressure readings were and the temperature readings for various mm-hmm. things that we were doing, and why we were doing this to that valve and that type of thing. And they were all very very good engineers for the most part, very, very well respected. Gus Grissom was one of the astronauts in Apollo
Apollo 1, I think, right?
Apollo 1, I guess it was,
Okay.
that was killed in an accident, a
Mhm.
fire at that time. Grissom, White, and Chaffee were the three astronauts. And of course, we all really had a lot of respect for all of the astronauts and what they did.
Although you yourself have never been to space, your name is on the moon, as we hear. So, can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, that was something that was a very nice gesture that was provided to us from NASA. They took all of the workers who had contributed towards the program, and they had this great big, like a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of wood, with paper on it and stuff, and a picture, and they had us all come down there and sign our names on it. And so we had the launch team that was down at Cape Canaveral, so there must have been 600 of us on that one piece of paper. And then they had the people up in Grumman, in Bethpage, and the people in Houston, and people from the other companies. They had North American, who did the command module. They had Boeing that was instrumental in the launching. And they had a lot of people from different parts of the country who signed it. And then they took a picture of it and put it on microfilm. So, you'd have to have a pretty good eye to be able to see my name on it. They can blow it up at some point in the future and take a look at it if they ever go up and recuperate.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you look at the moon, do you think, my name's up there?
Yeah, I tell people that once in a while.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, and you were part of an exclusive 150-person team that checked and rechecked the lunar module, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, maybe more than 150 people, but it was around that.
So how did it feel? Did you feel a lot of pressure that people's lives and America's kind of dream of space travel is resting in part on?
Well, we've had a lot of confidence in ourselves. Maybe we're cocky or something like that, but actually, it's being very well trained and educated, and having been through the military training, and having been through a lot of rocket design and development. I think that we were confident that what we were doing was right. And so it felt, as long as everybody on the team, it takes teamwork, it's just like any sport, baseball or soccer or football, whatever. There's a big team effort, and everybody has to do their job. And I think we all felt very confident that we were doing very well, maybe except for a couple of our bosses there. They probably wanted to double check everybody and make sure that we were doing right.
Naturally.
Yeah.